Hello everyone, welcome to day 171 of playing chess every day for a year. Let's find the game. We're starting as white, so e4. We get knight c6, so bishop c4. I'll go for c3, b4, and this attack on the diagonal. They want to trade my bishop off now. Don't really want to. I mean d4 will just hang my bishop. I could go for this. Then the dark squares would be very weak. Really don't want to get rid of my bishop. I could just slide back, or even go for the pin, which I think seems good. And I can try to remove their bishop with my knight. They are forcing me to take her. I'm okay with that. I think d4 seems good here. Just attacking the center. They take. I can take with the knight to target this. They push. I have this move, which targets the queen, cuts off the king on this square. Then the queen can just move. I'll just take the bishop here. I wanted to remove it. I can go straight after. I mean, pushing's a good move, I think, but it's probably best to just develop my pieces, maybe even castle right now. Bringing the bishop out is probably good. I'm fine with bishop f4. If they push, I just slide back. Yeah, I can just slide back here. My queen can have a very nice square on d5. I think I'll just castle here. Bring my rook into the game. I do have a check, but I just get kicked away. But then actually I could take if they pushed, so I think this check might actually be very good for me. If they pushed, I just take. If they move the king, I have a discovered attack. I have a skew on the queen, but they could block maybe. I'll go for check. It definitely looks like a good move. They go to block. I'll go for check. They can't push. They have to move the king. And if they do, I'd have another check. They do run the king. So I can immediately give this check, winning this pawn. Or I can give this check. And the king has to run. I do prefer this check, winning the pawn. I can attack this and the rook. They just run the king again. I'll take on here. I can go for this attack on the knight. I am seeing that this would be a great square for my queen, but can't get there right now. I'll go for this attack on the knight. The knight takes, I can take here. They've had to run their king across the board. Their structure is terrible. Their light squares are very, very weak. They move the rook. I could just slide over here. Or I could take the pawn. Can't really take here. I'd lose my queen. Taking this is completely fine. They do have pressure here, but it should be okay. If they go for this, it's an annoying move, but I think I'd just take. They do end up taking a pawn, but I think I just take the bishop either way. If the queen takes, I go here. So queen takes, I can go here. I'm attacking the knight. I'm also seeing that I'd have a way to win a rook if this one wasn't there. The knight doesn't really have any good squares. So I have this move, checking the king on this diagonal to attack the rook, but doesn't actually win any material. This one doesn't work because I just lose my queen. I'll go for check on this diagonal, just to have pressure on my opponent. They actually pin themselves, which is a terrible move, because I can just push. And if they temper my queen, I just take. They push there, but I still just pick up the knight. With check, the king has to take. The king takes, I take with the knight. I also have a rook check. So I have a check now. If the king steps forward, I'd have another check. The knight's defended, so I don't have to worry about losing it. I'll give this knight check. And so here I can just simplify, take the pawn, force a queen trade. I even have another check. Have a rook check. King steps over. I'll threaten the fork. That's just a triple fork. So I can just take this rook. And I can go after this pawn, very weak pawn. I'm going after c7, they can't protect it. They should probably move out of the way. That just gives me another check. I also have this check, but I prefer taking the pawn. They step in, I can go here. I can also take this pawn. I'll temper the rook. I'll go after the rook here. Be careful not to blunder back rank mate. I mean, I just have a discovered check to pick up the rook. This move defends the pawn. They go after the knight. I have this move, and now I can just push my a pawn, and it should be an easy win. I'll just simplify further here. And my opponent resigns. They have no pieces left. Let's look at this game. I played with an 84.5, they played with a 76. I played like a 1700, they played like an 1100. I actually had a blunder and a mistake this game. They also had one blunder, so let's look at this game. I was losing at one point in the game, but it wasn't actually that terrible. It was minus 2.5 for me. Pinning the knight's okay, it's best just to weaken their structure. I strike the center, it's a good move. It's best to take with the pawn and just have a strong center. I take their bishop. Developing the bishop's fine. It's actually best to go knight a3. Coming in this way. Castling's okay, but I actually had check now. Because they can't stop it. They have to move their king. So I find check. I take the pawn. It's best to go back and just threaten to play queen d5, check. This actually loses a bishop. I guess they'd have a way to attack my queen and bishop at the same time. I did feel like my bishop was very cramped. The queen is safe, but I can't really protect the bishop. This square is very dangerous. But they miss rook over, which picks up the bishop. Because I have to stay on the g file. I can't stay on the h file. Rook over picks up my bishop, so that's very bad for me. Luckily though, they missed the move. And I missed queen down, which if they take my bishop, I take the knight, so would check. This was a mistake. I should have developed my knight and brought my rooks to the center. But this is a blunder because it allows c4, which just picks up a piece. And here I'm just completely winning. After I find the fork, there's nothing they can really do. I just simplify. And it's checkmate 6 for me. So that's it for today, guys. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow.